Hello, and welcome to the Random House Children's Books Spring 2026 preview. I'm Kelly Ferreira, Books for Youth Associate Editor at Booklist. Before we begin, I'd like to go over some technical details. Links to today's slide presentation and title list were included in the reminder email you received from Zoom 1 hour ago. To download them, please open that email, scroll to the bottom, and click on the links located there. You can also download the slides and title list by copying the URLs on the screen into your web browser. If you have any trouble, please contact us at webinars@booklistonline.com. The audience is in listen-only mode, but we welcome any questions you may have. On the bottom of your screen is a toolbar with a section for Q&A. If you have a question or need technical assistance, simply click Q&A and type your message into the box that appears. We will do our best to respond to all tech-related questions, and we'll pass along all other questions to today's panelists so they can follow up with you after the webinar. Booklist also offers closed captioning on all webinars. To enable or disable captions on your screen, please look for and click the Captions icon on the toolbar mentioned earlier. From there, you can select Show or Hide Captions from the menu that appears. If you choose to enable subtitles, you can adjust the size of the captions at any time by selecting Subtitle Settings. And finally, Booklist expects all participants to maintain an atmosphere of respect and fairness. Anyone who violates the standard of behavior, including engaging in any forms of harassment, may, at the discretion of the organizers, be immediately removed. We have a wonderful program for you today. We'll hear from the Random House Children's Books team a little later, but first, we will begin today's webinar with a conversation between Newbery Medal-winning author Tae Keller and her editor, Caroline Abbey. Caroline is the editorial director at large at Random House Books for Young Readers. Take it away, Caroline.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I am thrilled to introduce Tae Keller, the Newbery Medal-winning and New York Times bestselling author of When You Trap a Tiger, Jennifer Chan Is Not Alone, The Science of Breakable Things, the Me He Ever After series, her picture book debut, We Carry the Sun, and next up for Tae, the book you are all here to hear about, When Tomorrow Burns. Tae, I would love for you to start by just sharing a little bit about When Tomorrow Burns with our audience.
Thanks, Caroline. So I'm really excited to be talking about this book. It's been, as you know, like a few years of working on it really deeply together, and now finally it's starting to be out in the world. I'm really excited about it. So When Tomorrow Burns is about three kids, these former friends, and when they were younger, they found this mysterious book of poetry. And this is like an old book that's like kind of like a journal that's kind of falling apart. It's got this blue inked cursive poetic lines in it. These kids don't know who wrote it or when it was written, but they feel like there's something special about it. And they start to realize that each of these poetic lines seems to be predicting their future in some ways. And it's kind of small ways, like there's a line that says, in pea green pockets, promises of tomorrow. And one of the kids, Nomi, she finds an old pop quiz in a green coat pocket. And the next day they have another pop quiz. So it's these little things like this. But it seems to these kids like each line in order is predicting the course of their lives. And this continues up until seventh grade when this book starts, when Nomi realizes that they seem to be on the very last poem or prophecy, as she thinks about it, of this book. And this final prophecy is certainly the most ominous one. It talks about destruction and girls turning to flame and lives never being the same. And Nomi is terrified about what's going to happen if this prophecy comes true. And she's also terrified about the idea of this book ending. And all of a sudden, her future, which has been knowable in the form of these little prophecies, suddenly becoming terrifyingly unknowable. And she gets it in her head that there is a sequel, there's a second journal that can help them through this scary prophecy and can continue to safely predict the future for them. So they go searching for this book. They try to figure out the mystery of where this book came from. But of course, it's never quite so simple. So that's kind of the main plot of the book. But the heart of the book is really these three kids dealing with the future that seems increasingly uncertain and scary.
I love that. I haven't heard you actually pitch it that way before. I enjoyed hearing it myself. I think you know this, but one of the things I really love about working with you is that I feel like your projects always start with that like spark of an idea or like a really big question that you want to figure out a way to answer for middle grade readers. So, what was that spark when you like first started thinking about this book?
Yeah. So all of my books have this kind of driving question because I take like 2 or 3 years to write a book. And so the process of writing a book is kind of me asking myself this question and maybe not trying to find like a definitive answer, but trying to explore that question for myself and then hopefully uh, then being in conversation with readers, exploring that question together. But for this one, it was really this question of like, how do we live in this world on fire? Because the world is on fire. The world is so on fire that it's like a meme at this point. Like people just say this and it has felt this way for many years, but increasingly so, and increasingly so now. And I've been thinking about this feeling of this world being on fire, literally and metaphorically. Um, and I worry about that for myself and what the future looks like. But even more than that, I worry about kids and how they must be experiencing the world and the idea of the future right now. And I visit a lot of schools and I talk to a lot of kids and I see the way that all of these current fires in the world impact them. I'm going to schools where I saw how kids were impacted from COVID. I see, like, I go to schools in the South and there are so few books on the shelves because they're being pulled because of book bans. And now with like, there are kids who aren't able to go to school because of ice. Like there's so much happening in the world right now, not to mention just like the climate anxiety about the future. And when I visit schools, I kind of like I have this impulse to just push it all away and be like, everything's fine. Because I desperately want everything to be fine. And I want them to not be scared of everything that's happening. But I also feel like when I started writing for kids, I have kind of held this promise to myself of being honest with kids and treating their feelings as valid. And so I felt like okay, they know that this is happening. Kids also live in this world with us and they see this. So how do I tell a story that addresses these fires of our time, while also kind of trying to offer some comfort and hope for the future?
I love that. Yeah, yeah. I've always loved that line. How do you live in a world on fire? And that brings me to my next question because that's so much about kind of those big questions in the book. But then you have these three kids who are really finding middle school and kind of it's making their easy friendships so much more complicated. They're each maturing in totally different ways at different paces. Can you talk more about that, like how you took each character and kind of set their arc? Because I think one of the amazing things about this book is it asks the really big questions, but then it's very like in it with the kids on those like day-to-day problems of middle school.
Right, yeah, because there's like these horrifying fires over time, but then also like middle school is its own fire.
Its own fire, yes.
Um, and so these kids are dealing with, there's Vi, Nomi, and Arthur, and Vi and Nomi have always been best friends, but their friendship is changing. Vi's kind of interested in boys and growing up faster, and Nomi is afraid of that. She wants to stay the same. And so that's putting this tension on their friendship. Uh, Arthur secretly had a crush on Nomi. Nomi's totally oblivious. But then like that is straining their relationship. And also Arthur's friends think that Nomi is very much uncool. And so there's these dynamics, the crush, the friendship, these dynamics that are so evergreen in middle school. Um, and also these kids, since I had this idea of like fires, they're each dealing with their own kind of personal fire. So Nomi is really dealing with these fears of uncertainty, of economic uncertainty, and also climate anxiety. And then Vi is dealing with her mom being a momstagrammer. So Vi is seeing these photos of herself and these stories about herself posted to the internet without her input, kind of seeing an image of herself that she doesn't quite feel is her. And as this is happening, she's starting to talk to this boy that she thinks is really cute and cool in school. Um, they're forming a texting relationship, and then this boy asks her to send a certain kind of photo. And Vi kind of realizes that, she's living in this world that there's so much information about what a girl should be and how a girl should look. And she's trying to figure out if there's a way that she can claim her own image of herself in this world. And then there is Arthur, who is trying to be closer friends with this cool group of boys, and is really dealing with hearing a lot from society in general about what a man should be. There's kind of this like, the background vibe of the manosphere and the things that his friends are saying about girls, and also the things that he's hearing online about like boys are so terrible, and he just has no idea how to parse all of these voices about what it means to be a boy in the world. And so they're each trying to like navigate their own sense of how to move into the future, how to come of age in the world today, while also like living amongst the greater scope of the world.
Yes, yes. I think I remember when you and I had lunch and we were discussing an early draft of this book, and I was like, I just want to hug each one of these characters and like help them through these, really tough things that they're navigating that are, new, middle school things that we all kind of have to face. Speaking of Violet, I know the teachers and librarians in our audience understand the importance of addressing these sensitive topics in literature for kids. And of course, she does send a photo of herself in a bra to a boy. And I think you handled it beautifully in terms of kind of making sure that the consequences feel realistic, but also really educational to kids about the way that our world functions with these kinds of things. Can you discuss kind of how you went about approaching that topic sensitively and age appropriately?
Yeah, so that's something I knew that I wanted to have fairly early on in the course of brainstorming for this book, because it's something that, I had a friend who experienced when I was in middle school, and my sister, who's younger than me, did as well. I have friends who are middle school teachers now who talk about this, so I know that it's something that is happening, and I also know the feelings that I had as a middle schooler hearing about this. And, I was in seventh grade and I would hear boys talking about this. And I just remember the feeling of like total shame, like even though it wasn't me, just this feeling of like, oh, like everyone's talking about like girls' bodies, and just feeling so like I wanted to like curl up into a little ball. And um, I wanted to put that into the book because I want to speak to kids who are feeling that way. The girls, but also the boys too, who are trying to navigate this. But I did really want to be careful about it, both because I want to be sensitive about, teachers, librarians, adults, who are maybe going to be sharing this book with kids and having these conversations. Um, but I also remember just like how uncomfortable I was, and I never want my books to make kids uncomfortable. I want my books to be able to help them parse and move through those uncomfortable feelings. So I talked a lot with my friends who are teachers. I talked to a school therapist, just to get a sense of how to approach this. And ultimately, I focused a lot more on the feelings of all the kids involved. So it's not like, a play-by-play of exactly what's happening. It's more the emotional reactions that kids are having. And I think, you know, I want to believe that like, oh, like, the kids aren't gonna experience this, but of course they are. And with the access to the internet that kids have now, they can go online and like ask the internet to help them through this. And there's no way for adults to know what the internet is going to spit back out at them. And so I feel like books are a really safe place um, to talk about this with kids, and to kind of show them, um, that this is not something to be like shaming Violet, this character, about, but that there are these really scary consequences, and just trying to walk them through this and help them through these feelings in a way that respects them, but is also age appropriate.
Yeah, I love that. I think you're so right. I mean, books are a really safe place to explore these kinds of things, whether they're happening to you or you're hearing about them and you're confused. And I do love that this book has the three points of view. So we get to sort of understand it a little bit from Arthur and kind of see the boys' perspective on like what's happening or how they react to it. I think, yeah, it's a sensitive topic, but we have to help the kids through it.
Yeah.
Um, so changing gears, so you talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but just thinking more about that fear of the future and kind of not knowing what's in store for us. Can you talk about a little bit more about like how that feeling felt to you as a middle grade reader? Because of course, when we were in middle school, like the world was very different, and how kind of some of your own fears came into the story, either fears you have then or now.
Yeah, I mean, so when when I was thinking about starting this book, I was thinking about my own experience in middle school. I was thinking about the sexism that I experienced in middle school, and when I was that age, the whole joke about like, oh, get back in the kitchen, um, was so popular. So I was hearing that so much, and just remembering how small and angry it made me feel. And I had this moment. This was like, I mean, 5 or 6 years ago now, when I was starting to have like the very inkling of what this book might be. And I thought about how I wanted to address those ideas of sexism in school. And I thought, oh, well, so naively, like, well, I don't know if that would resonate with kids because things are better now. And unfortunately, that's not true. And that's increasingly not true. And so I felt even more urgently like I wanted to address these things. And then, of course, more broadly with these ideas about uncertainty of the future, these questions about climate, which are only getting more and more pressing. Um, and for me, I write middle grade, so of course I am always writing books that end on this feeling of hope. Hope about the future, things can be better, we'll be okay. Um, and increasingly, I have days where it is hard to feel that. The world is really, really scary right now. And so, kind of writing this book was almost a challenge for me, because how do we live in a world on fire is the hardest question so far that I have explored in my books. And I I struggle to try to answer this for myself and for my readers. But ultimately, I found a lot of comfort in learning a lot about history. This book is set in Seattle, where I live now, and I did so much history while I was writing this book, or I did so much research into it, and I was learning so much about social movements and about the tribes and about all of the people throughout the very, very like long history of the land, all of the people who have been part of working for a better future. And it kind of reframed my idea uh, of the world right now, and that this is a very long story, and that there are so many people throughout history who have been part of this long story, and that I feel this kind of honor that I can be part of the story of trying to make the future better, and that hopefully bringing in that kind of long lens is comforting to kids, that there have been so many adults throughout time who have been like trying to make this world better for them. And there's so many adults now too. I think in middle grade, there's the joke of like, to have a good story, just kill the parents because then the kids will like have an adventure. But I really wanted to have adults in this book because I think, if we're talking about the scariness of the world, I want kids to know how many people there are who are working to protect them.
Yeah, yeah, and there are wonderful adults in this book. Yeah, parents and teachers and the professor who studies trees. And actually that as you were talking, I was thinking about the trees. So there are interstitials in this book that are from the point of view of the trees kind of in the Seattle area. And they know everything about the past, but they're kind of looking to the future as well. And can you talk a little bit about writing from the point of view of trees? Because it's such a unique but like really beautiful part of this story.
Yeah, so this kind of came from the experience of doing all the research into history, and then also, this book is set during wildfire season, so I was doing a lot of research about the forest and trees. I was learning so much about them, and I learned this thing that just totally stopped me in my tracks, which was, so a canopy of trees in a forest is really specifically calibrated for letting the exact right amount of light in. And the exact right amount of light will help the saplings grow, but it helps them grow just enough so that they're still growing slowly. Because if they grow too fast, they'll grow without being able to be strong enough, so that slow pace will help them build the strength to support themselves as they grow tall into adult trees. And I was just reading about this forest canopy and how it's so specific about um, how it wants the saplings to grow. And that's the whole purpose of the amount of light in the forest, is to make sure that the saplings are growing, but are growing safely. Um, and that just struck me of like this idea of adults and what we're trying to do for kids. Um, and I started to think when I kind of read about the canopy, like, oh, like this is mirroring exactly what I want to say about the past, about adults. And it's so comforting. And what if I brought this comforting feeling into the book kind of directly from the voice of trees? And so that's why these interstitials are directly the trees talking to the reader. Um, and also because trees have such a long lifespan, this idea that trees could bring in this much wider historical scope.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, the trees are they're wonderful. They're a special part of the book for sure. I remember during the revision process, at some point I said to you, this read made me think really deeply about the importance of creating art for art's sake. Like I would finish a draft and just be like, I want to go create something. Like it gives you this amazing feeling about art. So there's a museum in the book called the Museum of Lost and Found. Can you tell us a little bit about that museum and how you came up with that idea?
Yes, I love that that was the feeling that you were having. It made me so happy every time you said that. Yeah, but I think when I was thinking of, uh, kind of a response to how we live in a world on fire, a big part of it was this sense of history, and another part of it was this sense of creation and art, and um, the beauty of making art, and the way that um, art can speak to us across time and across cultures, and that we don't need to know the artist. And that still like even without knowing the person who made something, the fact that they made something can speak to us and affect our lives. I think that that is so beautiful. And the idea of this Museum of Lost and Found is so Arthur's parents run this gallery in Seattle, and the whole point of this gallery is that it's kind of abandoned art. So artists will leave paintings on the doorstep of this museum, and they'll wake up and find it and then put it in this gallery. And it's like totally anonymous museum, art that maybe people have put out just like to be taken by the trash, that Arthur's dad will like go and save from the trash. And I think especially, at a point in my career where I was feeling worried about like reception, and I always feel like scared when a book comes out. I think this idea of like it's about the art itself, and it's about connecting. We like if it connects with one person, it's still worth it. Um, and really like that is the point of it, is to communicate with other humans and to make something in the world.
Yes, oh, I love that so much. I would like to go to the Museum of Lost and Found. I understand that it doesn't exist, but I really want to go there. Um, well, that brings me to the end of my questions for you. Is there anything you really wanted to say about the book, or anything you really want readers to take away from the story? I mean, you've talked so much, but like, is there anything else that I haven't asked you that feels important about this one?
No, I'm really excited about this book. It's been a story in my heart for a long time now. And I'm excited to put it out there, and I hope it connects, and I hope that it spreads a little bit of hope and comfort right now.
I love that. Thank you. I don't know if we have time for questions from the audience at all, but we could take one or two, I think.
I think we had one question from attendees, and that
Oh, great.
was, and our question was, how can kids in this time of anxiety be inspired to work creatively?
Oh, I love that question. I think that sometimes, so when I go and I visit schools and I talk to kids, like I'll ask them like, how many of you are storytellers? How many of you are artists? Do you like to draw? Do you like to paint? A lot of them are excited about it, but I'll also have a lot of kids that come up to me after and they're like, well, I like to draw, but I'm really bad at it. Or like, like my friend is such a good writer and I'm not. And I think, there's something so heartbreaking when I hear that because they're so young. These are like 10-year-olds. And so I always want to be like, oh, like I want to see your art. Like that sounds amazing. And like ask them about like, what stories are you telling? What are you drawing? And just, I feel like reframing it from like, is it good or bad, to the enthusiasm and excitement and joy of it. Um, I know that when I was a kid, I found that really comforting. I find that really comforting now. And so I think that, as adults trying to encourage kids to create, I think focusing on the joy, the genuine joy that they find it and that we find in their creations, I think is maybe.
I love that. It's such a good message for adults too. Like, I think I saw something on social media not that long ago about how, like, as adults, we sometimes try to turn our hobbies into like a side hustle. But it's like you don't need to make something to sell on Etsy or whatever it is. Like, you can just make for the joy of making. And I think we can all take that in. And it's kind of a lovely note to end on. So thank you so much for talking to us about this beautiful book.
Thank you. Thanks, Caroline. And thanks, everybody.
And then I think I'm going to throw it over to my colleagues on the Random House team, to Katie.
Thank you so much, Caroline, and thank you, Tay, for being with us today. That was such a beautiful and thoughtful conversation and such a great way to get us started with our spring 2026 preview. So thank you again for being here with us. And thank you to everyone in the audience who came to listen to Caroline and Tae's conversation and is sticking around now to hear about our upcoming titles for spring 2026. My name is Katie Halata. I'm the Director of Library Marketing here at Random House Children's Books, and I'm going to kick us off today. So we can go ahead to the next slide. And we're going to start things off with some nonfiction picture books. We can go ahead. And the first one up is Houdini's Library. New from award-winning author Barb Rosenstock, discover the enchanting world of Harry Houdini in this captivating picture book biography. Known as the world's most beloved magician, Houdini amazed audiences with his daring tricks and escapades. Yet behind the scenes, he harbored a secret passion for books. From his childhood in Budapest to his rise to fame in America, Houdini's love for reading and collecting rare books about magic remained unwavering. With inviting text and stunning papercraft illustrations, this book offers a fresh perspective on Houdini's life and legacy. Back matter includes an author's note, links to additional resources, and insights into the artistic process. Next slide. Chickosaurus. Embark on a prehistoric adventure with National Geographic Kids in this humorous, action-packed picture book. Discover which dinosaurs have hatched as each page reveals photographic clues and fascinating dino facts. From the Argentinosaurus to the T-Rex, parts of the creature's body are unveiled until the surprise conclusion. It's a chicken! Learn how today's birds are dinosaurs in this whimsically playful illustrated book. Perfect for dino lovers of all ages, this laugh-out-loud learning adventure will be enjoyed again and again. Next slide. Black Hands. Celebrate the profound impact of the African American community on the United States in this poetic picture book, Black Hands reunites Newbery Honor winner Carol Boston Weatherford and Caldecott Honor winner R. Gregory Christie in their first collaboration since Freedom in Congo Square. From molding clay and painting vistas to penning timeless literary works, African Americans have significantly shaped the nation's culture, politics, economy, and landscape since 1776. Despite facing adversity, the excellence of African American community shines through in this inspiring chronicle. Next slide. Let It Shine. I am delighted to say that we have yet another picture book coming this season from award-winning author Carol Boston Weatherford. This picture book is based on This Little Light of Mine, a popular African-American spiritual that is sure to have readers singing along. This inspiring book is perfect for celebrating life's milestones. Through vibrant illustrations and powerful affirmations, it encourages readers to dream big and to recognize their potential for greatness. The book features everyday moments and historical change makers, reminding us that hope and determination can lead to remarkable achievements. Next. How to Hatch. Discover the adorable journey of a gosling hatchling in this funny nonfiction picture book. With humorous instructional text, children will enjoy reading aloud and learning each step of the hatching process. Bonus facts on gosling growth and the author's note from an experienced educator make this a perfect for springtime storytime read-alouds. And now I'll pass things to Jasmine.
Hello, my name is Jasmine and I'm an associate marketer in the school and library team. And up next we have Van Gogh's Dog. Join artist Vincent van Gogh on an epic dog chase through space and places inspired by his most famous works, featuring gorgeous illustration inspired by his most iconic paintings. This book is a perfect introduction to Vincent van Gogh's works and fostering creativity. Charming and playful, this book will inspire readers to see the natural world around them in new and in beautiful ways. Next slide, please. When the Sun Goes Down. When the sun goes down and the creatures outside and inside the house are ready to sleep, but where do they go? Come along as a young girl spends her evening learning just where butterflies and kittens go to rest. Perfect for curious children and restless readers who need one more story before bed. This engaging picture book gives readers a peek into the nighttime habits of some of their favorite creatures. Next slide, please. Where do race cars sleep at night? Race cars and many more speedy vehicles are getting ready for bed in their own special ways, whether it be by taking one last victory lap or getting tucked into bed by their parents. These cars are ready for a good night's sleep. Race car lovers and their families will love this new addition to their bedtime story bookshelf. Next slide, please. Take a tour of the library with the internet's favorite librarian, Michael Threets. This heartwarming debut picture book is perfect for little readers who are regular visitors and those who might be stepping into the stacks for the first time. This book promotes literacy and encourages kids to find creative outlet in the library. It serves as an important reminder that libraries are inclusive and promote freedom of expression. And I'm passing it over to Katie.
Thanks, Jasmine. My name is Katie Dutton. I am the digital marketing manager for the school and library team. Gigantic is a colorful, engaging, swimmingly good story about little fins and big hearts. Its positive messages about teamwork, believing in yourself, and empathy are perfect for encouraging social emotional development, and the rhyming rhythmic text paired with captivating artwork lend themselves wonderfully to storytime read-alouds. Next slide. From the best-selling and award-winning team of Julie Fogliano and Marla Frazee comes Because of a Shoe. Expressive text and timeless art takes readers through the downward spiral of a shoe-inspired tantrum that every caretaker of a young child can relate to. At the heart of this very relatable story is the timeless reminder that even in moments of great frustration, nothing can come between the loving bond of a parent and their child. Next slide. Written and illustrated by G. Brian Karras, the award-winning illustrator of the beloved Mr. Tiffin's Classroom series, Hummingbird's Big Trip is a triumphant story about anxiety, facing your fears, preparing for a major life event, and the power of perseverance. As a nervous hummingbird works through his many anxieties about migrating to his winter home, readers will learn the value in asking for help and support when needed, and that it's okay to take life's big worries at your own pace. Next slide. Join a young raccoon on his journey to find the perfect gift for Mama in Mama Won't Mind, a gentle picture book that celebrates the loving bond between mother and child. With lyrical text and gorgeous art, this book reassures children that they are loved and that the best gifts always come from the heart. Next slide. Join a young girl and her family as they prepare for Qingming, otherwise known as Tomb Sweeping Day, a holiday about remembering and honoring ancestors that's celebrated by Chinese and other Asian communities around the world. This poignant, informative story about the love and connection between a grandfather and grandchild tenderly explores the feeling of forgetting someone after they're gone and finding ways to remember and honor their legacy. And over to Katie Halata.
Thank you, Katie Dutton. Grumpy Monkey Father's Day Fuss. It's Father's Day, and Jim's dad is all about it. He loves having a day where he's the center of attention. But when Jim asks his father what he does for his father on Father's Day, he learns that Grandpansy thinks the holiday is a bunch of malarkey. This new seasonal title in the #1 New York Times bestselling Grumpy Monkey series celebrates fathers and grandfathers, and we get to learn where Jim gets his grumpiness from. Next slide. Mama loves it. With over 15 million in album sales and 1 billion streams, Raffi has been hailed as one of the world's best-selling and most influential children's entertainers. And this cute and joyful story is the perfect addition to the growing Raffi Songs to Read catalog. It's cleanup time. Mama and Papa are picking up around the house until a small voice cries out, "How can I help?" Full of rhyme and repetition, Raffi's catchy song is perfect to sing along as one family comes together to care for their home. Next slide. Because of You, I'm a Sister. This warm, funny, and touching picture book captures the excitement, challenges, and occasional conflicts of becoming a big sister. Through the eyes of an enthusiastic young girl, readers are taken on the journey from the moment she learns about her new sibling to the special bond they form over the years. This is an ideal read for families welcoming a new baby, offering a reassuring and joyful perspective on the adventures that lie ahead. Next slide. Chung is Chung. Luna loves spending time with her little brother, Joey, and their Haimoni. After school, they share yummy treats, play at the park, and have lots of fun speaking to each other in Korean and English. When Haimoni notices that Luna helps Joey put on his shoes, she says that she has Chung. And that's when they realize that some words don't quite translate between the two languages. And so it begins, a lyrical journey of discovery, kindness, and understanding in this ode to Korean American language and culture. Next slide. And I'll pass things to Michelle.
Thanks, Katie. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Campbell, Assistant Director of School Marketing on the School Library Marketing team here at Random House. Navigating Night is a touching picture book written by award-winning author Julie Lung, and it follows a girl who helps her immigrant father deliver Chinese takeout food. Through this experience, she learns about her father's challenging journey to America and gains a deep appreciation for their bond. This story is perfect for Asian American and immigrant families, as well as educators looking to teach children about immigrant experiences and complex family relationships. It's also a great choice for AANHPI Heritage Month. Next slide, please. There's a new baby cousin in the family, and a young boy and his dog Miles can't wait to go take a trip to deliver them a shiny new present. There's only one problem. In all the chaos of packing, the present has gone missing. Luckily, Miles has excellent canine smarts and helps his family assemble a new gift. Written by award-winning author Min Lei, this book reminds readers that sometimes the best gift can't be bought from a store, except of course for this book, which makes a perfect gift. Next slide, please. Two Artists, Granddad and Me by Charlene Pinckney Barlow is a heartwarming picture book inspired by the author's memories of her grandfather, beloved children's book creator Jerry Pinckney. It celebrates creativity and the special bond between a young girl and her artist granddad, making it perfect for inspiring young artists and highlighting intergenerational relationships for all. Next slide, please. When We Were Snails is a touching story about a young girl who copes with her mother's absence due to work by holding on to memories and dreaming of their reunion. The girl, raised by her loving grandparents, learns to be brave on her own through drawing and remembering her mother's encouraging words. This book addresses separation anxiety and the strength of family bonds while highlighting the role of grandparents in child rearing. This also makes a perfect gift for Mother's Day. Next slide. Crouton, One Cat's Adoption Tale is a sweet story about a shelter cat looking for her perfect person, told from the cat's point of view. This is a great choice for teachers and librarians because it celebrates pet adoption. It helps kids develop empathy for animals and offers a fun way to talk about taking care of pets with young kids. Next slide, please. This is a humorous friendship comedy about sheep and goat who start as rivals trying to outdo each other by climbing higher than the next. And their competitive spirit takes them on a globe-trotting adventure. But when they get stuck at the highest point in the world, they must work together to find a way down. Its action-packed narrative and witty dialogue make it a perfect read-aloud for story times everywhere. Now over to Taylor.
Thank you, Michelle. Hi, everybody. My name is Taylor Belgrade, and I'm the marketing assistant here at RHCB on the SNL team. A barbershop is a magical place filled with laughter, games, and most importantly, fresh cuts. Haircut Day with Dad follows a boy and his dad as they spend the day in their happy place, the barbershop, where they take the time to bond and focus on themselves and share moments of self-care and self-love. This uplifting and vibrant picture book tells a story of how barbershops are centers of community for African Americans to unite and foster connections between a child, parent, and their community. Next slide, please. Lulu's life was perfect. Salmon for dinner, tuna for breakfast, and comfy lap naps in the sun. That was until Lulu's mom rescued a dog to keep Lulu company. Lulu's life turns upside down with the germs, dog slobber on her toys, and worst of all, Gus follows Lulu everywhere. In this sweet tale of opposites forced to live together, Lulu learns to appreciate the canine brother she never wanted, but ultimately needed, and reminds us all that while change is never easy, it can be the greatest gift. Next slide, please. Get ready to dive into an underwater hide-and-seek adventure. When Momo's ball falls into a sea, a mysterious ocean creature invites him to play. Throughout an immersive journey of hide-and-seek with Momo's new friend, Momo finds a school of fish, a family of seahorses sleeping, a band of trumpet fish, but will Momo ever find his new friend? As part of the new Seuss Studio line of beginner books inspired by never-before-seen sketches by Dr. Seuss, this whimsical story celebrates abundant curiosity and invites readers to seek out the hidden magic in the world around them. Next slide, please. Pizzasaurus cares about one thing and one thing only, pizza. While other dinosaurs are famous for their size or strength, Pizzasaurus is known for his love of pizza, a love so obsessed that Pizzasaurus's friends begin to feel left out. The good news, pizza is perfect for sharing, and that makes Pizzasaurus a special dinosaur indeed. Perfect for fans of foodie picture books, this bright picture book bursts with cheesy puns and celebrates friendship, sharing, and the joy of a beloved food. Next slide, please. Have you ever wanted to be transported right into the future? Have you ever wondered which phrases and words we will use? Well, kid lit sensation and acclaimed author Mac Barnett and accomplished illustrator Sean Harris have you covered. This power duo invites you into the future, one where you say, "You smell like a baby," to say goodbye. This innovative and highly interactive picture book is full of hilarious phrases and funny Mad Lib-like outcomes that will have kids not only cracking up, but begging to read this book out aloud again and again. Now over to Natalie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie Capagrossi, Senior Manager of School Marketing, here to talk about some more hilarious picture books, starting off with The Naked Streak. Toddlers like to be naked. They do. As far as they're concerned, why not? The problems only arise when they visit the grocery store or the library or run out the front door. Kim Howard's and Jamie Kim's hilarious picture book, The Naked Streak, follows one such willful toddler who has no interest in everyday clothes. But being the adventurous fellow that our hero is, he is definitely interested in his sister's clothing. A tutu is better than a pair of jeans, is it not? Ultimately, nudity wins the day. This book is kid-friendly, has dry wit that will entertain adult readers, and is full of endlessly inventive illustrations that limit the full nudity. Next slide, please. And Maya's World by Andrea Pippins. This is a story about a young artist who goes from being super confident to having huge self-doubt in a matter of seconds. This is, of course, a common occurrence in creative people, especially young people. There's nothing Maya loves more than to draw. When she creates a drawing and shares it with her class, her classmates are confused. Rainbows shouldn't have confetti or sparkles. She is plunged into self-doubt. But with some encouragement from her teachers, she does an excellent job describing what's in her imagination and the creative liberties she's taken. Next slide, please. And The Wildest Thing, a new book from Emily Martin, the New York Times bestselling author-illustrator of The Wonderful Things You Will Be. She creates an enchanting picture book about a child finding their wild self. If you're a fan of Maurice Sendak and Max from Where the Wild Things Are, looking for girls who are finding their way to the wild, this is the perfect book for you. In this story, Eleanor loves wild things, and there's something in her that wants to come out. There are so many ways to be wild, and Eleanor tries them all as she comes to acceptance of her wild self. This is a great discussion starter and resource for families and classrooms supporting kids to be themselves and unleash their inner wild. Next slide, please. And When I Redraw the World. This is sunshine in a book. A girl considers the simple, practical changes she would take to make the world a better place. She starts with the pragmatic. Everyone will have a home and food to eat, but it quickly goes off the rails. Zoos won't exist, and animals will live wherever they want. You will always be able to find a kind elephant if you need to reach something high, and there will be dogs everywhere. Heather Fox's bright illustrations perfectly capture this wild imagination of Audrey Vernick's text. Kids will love spotting the details rendered in this hopeful world. This is a great read aloud that will spark conversations and force readers to consider the small changes they can make. If you could redraw the world, what would your first order of business be? Drop it in the chat if you like. And next is There's a Bunny in Your Book. This is an interactive Easter adventure from Tom Fletcher, the best-selling author of There's a Monster in Your Book. Perfect for little ones. There are fun prompts like to clap and to make the book hop up and down like a bunny. It celebrates friendship and teaches readers how to share. Bunny will be book number 13 in this best-selling series. And I'll pass it over to Adrienne.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Adrienne Weintraub, and I head up this wonderful team of school and library marketers. Read Two in the Sun is a beautiful story about an important topic not explored a lot in children's books, colorism, discrimination toward darker skin tone individuals within the same racial or ethnic group. told from the point of view of a little girl and her loving nanny. The author of this story drew inspiration from her South Asian heritage and her upbringing in Singapore to craft this heartwarming intergenerational tale and has imbued it with an authentic, loving relationship. This one is done so well and shouldn't be missed. Next slide. Ramadan Rain is a perfect way to introduce children to the traditions and values of Ramadan and Eid, while also having a universal message that being thankful for family and community is the greatest gift of all. This timeless and evergreen message resonates no matter who you are. Many of you might know the author Jamila Tompkins Bigelow. Jamila is the author, among other titles, of Your Name is a Song and Salat in Secret, both of which were critically acclaimed. She is someone definitely to watch. Next slide. Many people in America know Bing cherries, but few know the figure behind the delicious fruit. With touching text and lush illustrations, Livia Blackburn and Julia Ko forge an unforgettable Chinese-American folktale that has largely never been told. They do so with a young girl and her father enjoying cherries from their backyard and weave together cultural memory, historical fact, and some imagination. The back matter includes a letter from the author and illustrator that tells all of the young Chinese immigrant Ah Bing, who the cherries were named for, as well as a recipe. Next slide. From Tiger Tales, a wonderful company that is part of the Random House Children's Books family, comes an endearing new character. Duck is funny and relatable in his desire for and complete and total fear of adventure. Fans of I Don't Want to Be a Frog will love him. Duck may be silly and say things like, oh, breadcrumbs, but he's a great model for facing your fears with determination and optimism. Next slide. Here's something a little different. It's a touching story about belonging and finding one's own voice that also shows the power of children to open doors for other children and to accept them unconditionally. When Emily can't find a door to open for her, she realizes sometimes you have to open the door yourself. This book also celebrates creativity. Next slide. And now for something fun from everyone's favorite Miss Rachel. Happy Birthday, Wonderful You celebrates everything birthdays. It even features tips for how to attend a friend's party. This story has everything needed to keep birthdays the happiest of occasions. And now I'll turn it back over to Jasmine.
The Mother Tree. When Sadie finds out her favorite tree has been marked to be chopped down, Sadie is distraught. Is there anything she can do to save her beloved mother tree? Filled with lush artwork, this picture book is a moving reminder that though healing our earth will take time, standing up for one majestic tree is a great way to start. Next slide, please. Who are you? With each step in nature, a young girl contemplates her place in the world. The question, who are you, becomes a mantra. Asked by the wide sky above and the valley below, it echoes through her adventures, but as the girl perseveres, she realizes that every moment, light or dark, is part of the journey that will lead her to where she needs to be and who she is meant to be. Next slide, please. New to our list, we have some Tiger Tale books. Learn about Carnival, or how to use creativity to navigate big feelings, or learn about impulse control with Doug. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. On this slide, we have our upcoming titles from our Step into Reading line, from our Leyendo a Pasos to finding your favorites like the Boxcar Children in early reader format. Next slide, please. Meet Gracie Way, a go-getting fourth grader who'll win over your hearts. She's spunky, determined, and an absolute delight. Join Gracie Way on the first two books as she tries to win her school spelling bee competition and as she's determined to have the most awesome summer ever. If only she can work up the nerve to get back on her bike. This is a charming new chapter book series for fans of Ivy and Bean. Next slide, please. On this slide, we present the latest installment from various chapter books in the Tiger Tales imprint. This includes the book in the Diary of Accidental Witches series, the 14th book in the Star Friends series, and the newest addition to the Pet Rescue Adventures series, which is the 24th book. These books are ideal for emerging readers, allowing them to grow alongside the series. And passing along to Katie.
Thank you, Jasmine. Now we're going to transition to graphic novels. We can go to the next slide. Squirrellock Holmes, The Pet Rock Mystery. Detective Squirrellock Holmes and her trusty sidekick Mole Watson are on the hunt for a missing pet rock in this hilarious early graphic chapter book series. In the case of the missing pet rock, Reggie the rabbit's pet rock, Dwayne, has gone missing from Pet Rock Obedience School. With suspects ranging from Reggie's classmates to his teachers, the detective duo must use their expert problem-solving skills to crack the case. Early chapter book readers will laugh along as they follow the silliest sleuths in the forest through each step of a classic detective work, from searching for clues to interviewing suspects and making educated guesses to solve the mystery. Next slide. Join 5th grade genius Harper Sharp in the first book of a new laugh-out-loud, action-packed middle grade graphic novel series. Harper juggles homework, friendship, video games, and solving major mysteries. When ominous flyers appear at Starville Elementary's Young Inventors Fair, Harper must uncover the culprit and save the fair. Can he foil the nefarious plans, or will the young inventor's spark be extinguished forever? Next slide. Stephen and Parker, Dinos Are Forever. Meet overly imaginative and dino-obsessed Stephen and his responsible older brother Parker in this hilarious tale inspired by the hit YouTube channel. Stephen, the self-appointed CEO of the Dino Club, drags Parker into a series of misadventures at the Orange County Fair and school. When Stephen feels left out at the fair, a lost dino plushie named Tatum leads to unexpected hijinks. Can Stephen keep Tatum before his real owner claims it? Laugh out loud with Stephen and Parker in this riotous story of sibling antics and friendship. Next. Hilo presents The Mighty. From New York Times bestselling creator of Hilo comes Hilo Presents. This line of stories will feature new adventures, heroes, and worlds. Miranda Luna is an average kid navigating school and life in Willow City, but she might also be a superhero known as the Mighty. As crime and bullying rise, Miranda discovers strange changes in herself, including super strength. Can she become the hero Willow City needs? Judd Winnick brings his signature action-packed storytelling, humor, and heart to this new adventure, perfect for fans of Hilo and anyone in need of a hero. And now I will pass things to Katie Dutton.
Oh Brother is a unique coming-of-age story that explores the complex realities of growing up alongside an autistic and nonverbal brother. Perfect for fans of Speak Up and Frankie's World, this is an emotionally nuanced and thoughtful graphic memoir that examines the impact of a childhood spent as a caretaker can have on a teenager in a compassionate, informative, and beautifully heartfelt way. Next slide. I have been describing Last Day Pool Party as can't hardly wait for middle grade readers, and although I have now realized how much that dates me and my movie habits, I stand by it. 6 very different kids' lives collide in this hilarious and fun-filled slice-of-life graphic novel that's full of ridiculous mishaps, wild twists, and tons of middle school drama from the best-selling creator of the OK Witch series. Next slide, please. Lovely Recipe is a sweet, sapphic YA romance graphic novel in which a klutzy high schooler striving to learn her grandmother's recipes ends up falling for a no-nonsense classmate whose family owns a restaurant. Interwoven into this charming love story is the relatable dilemma of a high school senior struggling to figure out if college is the right path for her, as well as equally relatable complex family dynamics that readers will love. Next slide. Fans of Tilly Walden's Spinning and Trung Le Nguyen's The Magic Fish will love Someday Perfect, a debut graphic novel that follows a teen whose faith is tested when she falls for another camper at a Christian sleepaway camp, sparking feelings that she was taught to suppress. This is a story about exploring identity, the complexity of faith, self-discovery, and the complicated feelings that come with first love. Next slide. Moving into middle grade. Next slide, please. An accessible introduction to speculative fiction, Anna Jane and the Endless Summer is the story of a young girl's fight to survive in the face of the unknown. This contemporary twist on Lord of the Flies embraces and explores some of the darker themes present in beloved survival stories such as Hatchet, Fever 1793, and The Skeleton Tree. Next slide. On a slightly lighter note, Hatchet meets Survivor in Wilderness Hacks, which is a fast-paced and funny tale about two bickering kids who must find their way back to civilization after being stranded in the mountains. This is an inclusive adventure story featuring main characters with autism, anxiety, and ADHD that's perfect for reluctant readers and fans of Carl Hyacin. And back over to Katie Halata.
All right, The Case of the Scarlet Snake Bite. When the wealthy Willoughby family checks into her mother's bed and breakfast for the weekend, Amber Adler is certain a crime is being committed right under their roof. Sure, Amber has made a few false accusations, but this time she's positive that one of the guests is up to no good. So it comes as no surprise to Amber when someone steals a priceless ruby belonging to the crotchety Willoughby patriarch. But what she didn't expect was that her mother would be framed for it. Now Amber must call on everything she knows about solving mysteries to find the stone and catch the real culprit before the family checks out. Cozy middle grade mysteries remain in high demand. This charming bed and breakfast setting and the affectionate nod to Agatha Christie promise an experience that is both fun and atmospheric for cozy readers. Next. X marks the haunt. Thanks to his mother's job at a local graveyard, 12-year-old Will Stone has some unique talents. For one, he knows exactly how a burial vault works and what they're used for. For another, he's great at genealogy and can decode centuries-old records. But when a centuries-old crypt key is lost, his normal peaceful existence at Graceland Cemetery is shattered. A dark force has been unleashed within the cemetery gates, and along with his friends, Will must use his unique skill set to figure out which restless spirit is draining the graveyard of life and how to end the haunting for good. Perfect for fans of classic middle grade horror from Catherine Arden, K.R. Alexander, Mary Downing Hahn, and R.L. Stine. Next slide. Aku, Journey to Ibra. Aku loves space. He loves playing space-themed role-playing games with his best friend, and he dreams of becoming an astronaut. So when his grandmother dies and leaves him an astronaut helmet, Aku thinks it's the coolest thing ever. Discovering that the helmet can transport him through space is really the coolest thing ever. The helmet lets Aku travel back and forth between Earth and the planet Ibra, where he meets extraterrestrial friends and explores their fascinating planet. But Aku's visits open a rift in the universe, allowing space soldiers to invade Ibra and steal its most precious resources. If Aku doesn't figure something out quickly, his joyful adventures could spell doom for the entire planet. Micah Johnson spent several years as a pro baseball player and created Aku after hearing a kid ask whether an astronaut can be black. He now travels the country giving away school supplies, Aku-branded backpacks, and books to kids in vulnerable communities, spreading the hopeful story and the message of his beloved character. Next slide. Life on the Moon. 12-year-old Leo gets a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to join the very first moon colony. He's excited to be part of a top-secret mission, but things quickly go off the rails. Right after his family lands on the moon, Leo's dad is called off on an urgent mission from which he never returns. Leo goes looking for his dad and discovers far more than he bargained for. Everyone in the colony insists there's no life on the moon, but Leo's explorations reveal a landscape brimming with extraordinary creatures, with baffling behavior and beliefs. Why keep moon life a secret? Who stands to gain? And how can he find a way to save his moon friends before the lie becomes a reality? Like The Lion of Mars, We Dream of Space, and classics like The Little Prince or The Giver, this book validates kids' emotional truth at an age where they crave agency in their lives and are beginning to question the nonsensical and even arbitrary rules of the adult world. Lincoln Pierce called it an unforgettable work of imagination, depth, and whimsy. And now I'll pass things back to Michelle.
Thanks, Katie. Clementine feels like the villain of his story. At school, he faces social anxiety, teasing, and misgendering. However, in the woods, he and his friends, Beetle, Cricket, and Anise, create a magical world together. Beetle, who dreams of being a hero, becomes Clementine's first true friend. And Clementine wants to use their adventurous power to improve the real world. When he discovers the magic source, he must decide whether to be a hero with Beetle or a villain ready to build a new world. Noah Corey's debut novel celebrates imagination, empathy, and the bravery of being oneself. Next slide, please. New from the New York Times bestselling author Brandon Mull, Forbidden Mountain is the first book in the Guardian series, where children bond with spiritual guardians and magical abilities. Mako, must choose between good and evil to stop an ancient threat, while Arden infiltrates a criminal network to find her friend. Their paths collide as they battle to save their empire. Teachers and librarians can use this book to discuss themes of choice, destiny, and courage. Its engaging plot and relatable characters make this a nice class read aloud or book club choice, and leads to discussions about moral dilemmas and character development. Next slide, please. Sprout has always hidden from the world. Having antlers growing out of your head will do that. But when she hears that someone else like her might exist, she's willing to risk her safety and that of her town to get to the truth. This Tim Burton-esque middle grade is a fast-paced, quick-witted, and marvelously fantastical adventure about learning to embrace who you are, thorns and all. Next slide. Mystery on Macaw Mountain by Maria Jose Fitzgerald is a middle grade eco mystery perfect for fans of Carl Hyacin and Lynn Kelly. Nico and his cousins are excited to visit the Mayan ruins of Copan and witness the release of newly extinct scarlet macaws. And they are shocked when the birds are stolen on the eve of the big day. Determined to solve the bewildering bird heist, they suspect poachers, developers, and Mama's annoying novio. Their investigation takes them from downtown Copan to the mist-shrouded ruins of Macaw Mountain, uniting them as they unravel a plot stranger than they could have ever imagined. The story blends adventure, environmental conservation, and family bonds, which makes this perfect for fans of animal stories and mysteries and anyone looking for Latinx representation. Next slide, please. We heard from Tae Keller earlier today, so I won't speak about this too much, but we think that this is a really special middle grade novel. Tae brings incredible depth and empathy to the characters and their journey, making it truly rich and layered. We see this as a novel that can be used to start conversations around climate change and other environmental issues, while also tackling real-life interpersonal relationship situations that kids face every single day as they're trying to navigate their own coming of ages among the larger scope of all the different fires that are happening in our world. We really can't wait for you to read this and for you to share it with your young readers. Next slide, please. New from three-time Coretta Scott King winning author Sharon G. Flake, Hattie Mae Begins Again is a poignant coming of age set against the backdrop of the Great Migration in South Philly. Hattie Mae, a Southern girl from Steed County, North Carolina, finds herself at an elite girls' boarding school in Philadelphia, where she struggles to fit in and dreams of a brighter future. The novel explores themes of identity, belonging, and courage, making it a great tool for discussions on class divide, poverty, and prejudice. We see this being used by teachers and librarians and given to fans of Jackie Woodson, Christopher Paul Curtis, and Rita Williams Garcia. Back over to Taylor.
Thank you, Michelle. Wrestle and Octopus swim through a sunken city and discover 20 incredible but true stories from our unbelievable and unpredictable oceans. From acclaimed nonfiction writer Mary Boone comes a beautifully illustrated look at the fascinating stories that take place under and above the sea, and is perfect for blending fun facts and rich scientific context that will have readers hooked. So grab your snorkel and enjoy hands-on research, interview quotes, and mind-blowing stories that are reminiscent of Nat Geo's Weird But True series. Next slide, please. How do you become friends with your enemies? The answer to all of that is one of the strangest tales you'll ever hear. And it's a true story. In the third book in the New York Times bestselling middle grade series, Unstoppable Us, comes an enthralling dive into her early human civilization that helps us understand our current circumstances by connecting us with our past. With full color illustrations throughout, this Unstoppable Us will immerse readers into a journey of exchanging food, traveling across oceans to building empires and developing religions. Prepare to explore how early civilizations interacted with each other and shaped the way we are today. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Welcome to Carnival Fantastico. a spectacle of magic and pure mischief, and the absolutely perfect haven for a runaway. For fans of Stephanie Garber and Rebecca Ross and lovers of second chance romanticies comes an intricate and unputdownable romantasy that follows a young woman posing as a fortune teller at a magical traveling carnival, where the handsome boy who once broke her heart resurfaces and warns her that the carnival is more sinister as it appears. Next slide, please. Amelie Wen Zhao is back at it again with the second book and one of the first Chinese dark romanticies in the market. In the breathtaking sequel to The Scorpion and the Night Blossom, the battle has just begun. With a kingdom teetering on the brink of destruction and amidst the budding forbidden romance, Aniying must now risk everything to protect her world. For fans of strong female protagonists and forbidden romances, The Dragon and the Sun Lotus is sure to deliver an enthralling, high-stake, and tension-high read. Back to Natalie.
Wonderful. We are excited to introduce a new series for dragon fans. From the pen of New York Times bestselling author Natasha Bowen comes Call of the Dragon, where African dragon gods rule the world and the sky. In the midst of it all, one girl is left with the impossible task of saving her world from ruin, one that also brings her closer to her best friend, just as it brings her head-to-head with the mysterious prince, the traitor king's son. Set against the lush backdrop of an African world, this story is one of adventure and power, of betrayal and romance. It is epic, African-inspired fantasy that will hold appeal for adult readers too. Next slide, please. In Stolen Midnights, New York Times bestselling author Catherine Quinn is back with a new romantasy duology, and Stolen Midnights is the first book for readers to lose themselves in. This is a swoony feminist romantasy set in a world where those favored by the fates receive a magical gift on their 18th birthday. The magic comes in the form of an everyday object. Those who don't receive gifts are residents of the void, exploited by the upper classes. Wren has always expected to be given a gift. No one in her family has ever been looked over by the fates. Little does she know that Damien, a resident of the void, has stolen her locket. But when he opens it, he finds a picture of himself. Brought together by fate, Damien and Wren must put aside their differences and fight their undeniable attraction to save themselves and their city. Next slide, please. The Faraway Inn. After a devastating heartbreak, a teen girl decides to spend her summer helping her eccentric great-aunt manage her quaint Vermont inn. But this fixer-upper is hiding a magical secret. In this cozy and irresistible new fantasy from the New York Times bestselling author of The Spell Shop, this is a cozy fantasy that is totally charming, part Studio Ghibli, part Gilmore Girls. Next slide, please. And Tide Speaker. This is the first book in an epic new fantasy duology, with its combo of gothic romance and YA rebels against the powers that be premise. This is a fantasy debut that is so compelling. Our main character is an aura, someone with the ability to speak to one of the 4 natural elements. After graduating from her rigorous magical institution, she is to be the newest Tide Speaker, controlling the water on Bower Island. But she discovers that the last Tide Speaker for Bower Island mysteriously died in their service. She's not a new hire, she's someone's replacement, and maybe in danger herself. There is a swoony male lead and gothic elements that perfectly blend the old with the new. Next slide, please. And some new exciting titles from Disney. Liz Braswell has penned the adored A Twisted Tale novels, such as A Whole New World, As Old as Time, Straight On Till Morning, What Once Was Mine, all of which have hit bestseller lists. And feature a new look at beloved protagonists from Disney Pixar's most globally popular properties. In this one, it is the characters from Up as teens. Readers will fall in love with the passionate and fierce Ellie and be swept away by Carl and Ellie's blossoming romance. Next slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry, previous slide, please. And the other title from Disney, Miss Marvel, Remnants of the Past. Author Sadia Faruqi is a Pakistani-American author and interfaith activist. In this book, she delivers a beautiful exploration of the Pakistani-American experience through the eyes of Marvel's Kamala Khan. Miss Marvel trips into a mystery that brings her from Jersey City to Lahore, Pakistan, and back again, all on a chase for a magical artifact in this adventure from Marvel Press. And I'll pass it over to Adrian.
Ah, romance. The following books are all paperback originals. Award-winning author Casey West's YA romance fans are obsessed. They know that a Casey West romance delivers pitch-perfect YA romance, and Room to Breathe is no different. When Indy's life came crashing down, she made a rule. No one could know. To the world, she's still the same Indy, cool, calm, unshaken, but behind the scenes, it's chaos. And when she finds herself stuck in a school bathroom with Bo, her one-time friend, can things get back on track? We'll have to read to find out. Next slide, please. Mira Rao George is done being the dorky high school senior crushing on her neighbor Sushant, who only has eyes for cheerleader Lucy Hudson, Mira's ex-best friend. After countless attempts to get his attention, Mira decides it's time for a bold move, the date Sushant and dethrone Lucy plan. Author Swati Hegde is an adult romance writer, and this is her first YA. Next slide. A teenage mystic is determined to fix a string of love-fueled magical disasters wreaking havoc at her high school, even if it means fake dating her boss's daughter, in this enchanting sapphic rom-com. Shelley Page is an adult contemporary fantasy romance and horror writer, and when she isn't a practicing attorney representing unhoused LGBTQ+ youth, she is writing stories about love, magic, and mystery. Next slide, please. When Natalie Campbell sets out on a class trip to Greece, she knows that checking off a summer bucket list with her best friend Liam sounds like the perfect way to deal, or rather, not deal, with her new OCD diagnosis. But when she grows closer with their Greek instructor's daughter Melanie, Natalie's summer plans may be ruined in the best way possible. Next slide. And the third book in the Love in Translation series by Stephanie Valentine is Love Makes Mochi. Set in Tokyo and among the backdrop of the fashion world, a teen goth fashion designer gets her big chance to learn from the best and design her own line of clothing. But it is a lot to do, and when the boss's rebellious tattooed rainbow-haired daughter offers to help, will everything work out? Next slide, and over to Jasmine.
Love on Ice. Harper Conrad figures when opportunity knocks, smart girls listen, which is why when she catches high school hockey star Easton in her backyard after stealing their rival school's mascot, she knows exactly what to do. The deal is simple. In exchange for Harper's silence, Easton will be her date to their upcoming prom. It's the perfect bargain, but what happens when what starts as business transaction begins to feel all too real? Next slide, please. Olive Austin just wants to get on her flight to visit her long-distance boyfriend in peace, especially since lately she can't shake that feeling that her relationship is on the rocks. Unfortunately, when she boards her cross-continental flight, she discovers that her seatmate is none other than Tyler Ferris, her ex. Even though Olive's prepared to ignore him and survive the flight with her heart unscathed, Tyler has other plans, and before long, with nowhere else to go, the past begins to resurface. Next slide, please. Audrey has had enough of following the rules. 18 years of being the perfect daughter, and still her parents don't trust her enough to let her study her passion, glassblowing, on a prestige fellowship. So when her best friend Henry proposes an outrageous fake dating scheme to win back his ex-girlfriend, it feels like the first step to shaking up her perfect life. But when her best intention starts to unravel, Audrey will have to reckon with who she is, what she wants, and what it really means to play life by her rules, all with her heart on the line. Next slide, please. Erase Me. 17-year-old Eli has been in a near-fatal car crash. As the anniversary looms, his therapist and family struggle to help him deal with this fallout. The accident has left him emotionally numb, with no memory of the months following the crash. Desperate to feel something, Eli discovers a black market for people's memories, erased memories that others can watch via a virtual reality simulation. When he enters story of a boy called Jack. He embarks on a thrilling journey that uncovers a love he was forced to forget. Next slide, please. Red Star Rebels. It's 2067, and the Graves family has transformed Mars into a chaotic patch of settlements, equal parts national pride and corporate power grab. Hunter Graves, handsome with spectacularly bad timing, arrives at the UN base just as emergency evacuation sends everyone scurrying for safety. Except he's left behind. Also stranded is Cleo, a sharp-tongued stowaway with no patience for overconfident trust fund boys. When mercenaries use the evacuation to hide their plans to blow up the base in 8 hours, Hunter and Cleo must work together to stop them, survive, and face the inconvenient truth that they might be falling for each other. And passing along to Katie D.
Thanks, Jasmine. Moving into the thrillers and suspense realm, House of Vipers. Sutter Hayward is determined to find his brother Lawson, who disappeared from Metal Heart Academy a year and a half ago. When Sutter and his friends discover that Lawson was searching for the school's rumored buried treasure and that a secret society called the Order of the Vipers is still hunting for it, they join the dangerous quest. As they uncover clues and secrets, Sutter realizes they are closer to solving the mystery of Lawson's disappearance, but some truths are meant to stay buried. This debut mystery novel features a twisty plot, puzzles, lovable characters, and a hint of romance. Next slide. Ella's night of babysitting turns fatal when she discovers a gas leak at her aunt's house, leaving her family unconscious. As she recovers from the tragedy, Ella uncovers deadly lies and suspects the leak was no accident. With escalating side effects from her recent diagnosis, Ella must navigate a web of deceit to find out who might be targeting her next. Perfect for fans of E. Lockhart's We Were Liars, Gaslit is a psychological thriller that delivers a shocking ending and contains poignant themes of mental health and illness. Next slide. Lost Girls of Hollow Lake is a gripping YA thriller where a group of teens must confront a sinister force on a dangerous island. After a disastrous school trip leaves 3 girls behind, the survivors return to face their fears and uncover buried secrets. Perfect for fans of Yellow Jackets, this multi-POV dual timeline novel features a chilling mystery, survivalist themes, and a sweet queer romance. Next slide. 18-year-old Price Cummings, an aspiring journalist, returns to his hometown to investigate the infamous Trojan murders that occurred 5 years ago in I Don't Wish You Well by Jamada Emil. As he digs into the cold case for his podcast, Price uncovers deadly secrets that suggest the real killer may still be at large. This chilling social thriller is perfect for fans of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It explores themes of sexual assault, homophobia, and systemic racism in the post-Black Lives Matter Deep South. Next slide. And now some nonfiction for us. In The Fight for Our Lives, award-winning author David Levithan and University of Cambridge PhD Gabriel Duckles present a poignant and deeply personal look at the AIDS crisis in the United States. In addition to a brief history of the epidemic that includes key moments, cultural touchpoints, and important figures, this book seamlessly weaves in first-person interviews and narratives, historical documents, journals, medical research, poems, essays, and more to create a stunning patchwork of voices that tell a story of not only grief, fear, inequity, and ignorance, but also advocacy, creativity, community, and love. I cannot overstate how special and necessary this book is. Next slide. From basketball icon Brittany Griner comes the young adult adaptation of her captivating memoir about her journey from early athletic stardom to her page-turning account of how she persevered in a Russian prison. Aside from being a compelling true story about a 9-time WNBA All-Star and 3-time Olympic gold medalist, Coming Home considers many themes relevant to teens, such as social justice, growing up Black and queer, finding strength within yourself, and overcoming insurmountable odds. Next slide. Another young adult adaptation of another gripping memoir, Lovely One chronicles the life story of Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first Black woman to ever be appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court. Our adapted edition will feature exclusive content, including a new preface, new epilogue, and a prize-winning speech delivered by the justice in high school. And I'm passing it back to Katie Halata.
And that's a wrap on Spring 2026. I just want to say, on behalf of Random House Children's Books, another big thank you to all of our presenters, especially our special guests, Caroline, Abbey, and Tae Keller. And another big thank you to everyone who tuned in today. A grid with information about our full catalog of Spring 2026 titles, including those presented here today, will be shared by Booklist following this webinar. And we encourage everyone to visit us at rhcbteacherslibrarians.com by following the URL on your screen for additional resources, thematic roundups, and more information about what we have coming up. Thank you again for joining us, and everyone have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much to the entire Random House Children's Books team. That was a stellar preview. And of course, a second thank you to our fantastic guests, Tae Keller and Caroline Abbey. So tomorrow, all attendees will receive an email containing links to today's video recording, title list, slide presentation, and a certificate of completion. For more about Booklist webinars, be sure to visit booklistonline.com/webinars, where you can view archives of past webinars and register for upcoming ones, like those you see here. Thank you again for joining us for today's webinar. One more huge thank you to our special guests and to our sponsor, Random House Children's Books. This concludes today's webinar. We'll see you next time.